Well, happy Monday, everyone. It is so good to have you, as always, on the Leadership Lounge. I am so excited for what we are going to get into today. It's going to be helpful, I believe. It's going to be encouraging. It will just be beneficial all around to you personally, your team, your organization, your processes, your product, all the things above, and I'm just pumped to get into it. So let's go ahead and do that. I want to talk today about 10 ways to build trust with your teams. 10 different ways to build trust with your teams. Trust will go a long way in an organization. There are going to be times that you need to make specific calls. In the heat of the moment, when there is pressure, when you need a lot of that relational equity, you might be going through, a bit of a busy season or a challenging season as a team. And as a leader, it's important to have that trust, to have that buy-in, to have that level of respect from your team so that the entire mission can move forward. One of my favorite acronyms of the word team, TEAM, is together everyone accomplishes the mission. As a leader, you can't fulfill the vision that you have in your heart for your organization on your own. At least you shouldn't be able to. As we've talked about before, vision will always involve others. It will always impact others as well. It goes much beyond you and what your hands, feet, and mouth can do. It necessitates a team. So together, everyone accomplishes the mission, or you could say together, everyone accomplishes more. But you need a team. They need a leader that they can trust. Just on a practical side, your retention of team members will be much higher. Their own personal buy-in toward the mission will be much higher. Your turnover, like I just mentioned, will be much lower. But more than all that, you just want to be able to have an incredible chemistry with your team. It's just funner that way. It's much more productive and it's much more fulfilling when you are trustworthy and they trust you. So let's talk about 10 different ways briefly on how to build trust with your team. The official title of this is 10 ways to build trust with your teams. Okay, number one, spend time. Spend time. Now, I know this won't always translate to every single context, watching this or listening to this on a podcast or something, but I believe that there should be some key people on your team that you spend time with. Maybe you are in a place to spend time with, your 30 different staff members or your 300 staff members in some type of staff rally, or maybe you can only give an allotted amount of time to 3 key executive members. I don't know how it translates to you, but there should be at least a few people that you are able to spend time with. If not, I just encourage you to rework your priorities, rework your schedule, because trust goes a long way. Trust is the currency on accomplishing the mission at hand. I want to say that again. Trust is the currency to accomplishing the mission that is at hand. Time equals trust. To spend time is to foster that culture or that relational trust. Okay. Time is their trust language. Write that down. Time is their trust language. We always talk about love languages, but time is the trust language of a team. When you give your time, again, you provide, you provoke, you encourage that relational equity, that relational trust. Your relationship now holds more weight. It's more valuable when they can be around you and catch your heart and hear about the mission firsthand of the organization, the vision, where we're going, what we're going to accomplish. When they spend time with you, as the leader, they spend time with the vision embodied. You are, as the leader, the vision embodied. And so to spend time with them, what better mouth and heart to hear it from than you as the leader? So again, write that down. Time is their trust language. They ought to trust you as a leader. And of course, we ought to be trustworthy. Okay, so that's number one, spend time. Time equals trust. Number two, and the second way to build trust with your team is to give them a voice. Give them a voice. Reiterate by your actions that there's a reason why they're on this team, that they bring something valuable to the table. It's not me and then y'all. It's an us organization, right? So give them a voice. This shows that you are bought into them and not just yourself. And oh my goodness, if we ever need to take the weight, all the weight off of our shoulders, it's now. Remember why you brought them on the team, gave them a seat at the table, gave them a voice, a position to speak up through, and act that out. Give them a voice. Let their opinions be shared, and their concerns and their comments. And of course, we, on the practical side, keep things on track in meetings and all that stuff. And, don't let gossip and slander enter in, because that's not the type of culture that you want to cultivate. But my point is, give them a voice. Remind them via your actions that you value what they have to say and they have a seat at the table. People want to be where they are valued. If not, that, if they don't feel valued in your organization, that they'll go find another one, which is no problem, in 2021, 2022, to find somewhere else that they belong. Okay, give them a seat, a team, a place, a culture, a mission to belong in. That's number two, give them a voice. Number three, be honest with them. Don't live in the clouds and act like all the time everything is okay when it might not be. Now, I'm not saying don't be positive and don't be optimistic, and I'm not saying don't be full of hope and full of faith, because they want that type of leader. But walk them through hardships, walk them through maybe even your own vulnerabilities or situations in the company. Walk them through, guide them through as a leader. Don't be so standoffish. Don't be so one way with it. Walk them through. Take that as a leadership moment and show them that it doesn't always go the way that we want it to go, right? And let them in just a little bit. I'm not saying give all the secrets. I'm not saying put people on blast. I'm not saying, for sure, don't do the blame game and only point at others and then woe is us. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying take that moment as a leadership moment and walk them through. And then sometimes the outcomes don't always end up the way that you prefer, and walk them through that as well as a leader, because one of these days they might be leading at a greater level or more weighty level, and they're going to need to know on how to navigate that. Okay, so use it as a teaching moment. Let them in a little bit. That just cultivates, encourages trust all the more as a leader. Okay, so be honest about your vulnerabilities as well as situations in the company. If you don't feel like you are the most gifted at communication or administration, or if you feel like sometimes you just miss the bar on things, let them know, let them in, because frankly, they already know a lot of this stuff. So if you admit it, it just provides this, I don't know, it's just like this safety thing or this rally thing that we're in this together, and you are but a person as well. And trust me, and I know you know it already, but there are times in an organization and in leadership that you want to feel like a person and not just a product, right? Okay, so that's number three, be honest. Number four, remind them of the vision. And so although you share, you're transparent, you're vulnerable in certain moments, and you share some of that, you also consistently, number four, remind them of the vision, because this will also show that you are focused as well. That, here's the thing, nobody should care as much as you about the vision at hand. And if they do, that's great. But if you are the leader, you are the chief visionary officer, the chief positivity officer, the chief optimistic officer. Again, it's not saying you're out of touch with the reality of the situation or lived in some romanticized, fantasized world. I'm not saying that you're on the clouds and they're in the valley and you stay there, but you are the one who ultimately carries the vision. Again, you are the vision embodied of your company, of your ministry, of your organization. You are the vision at hand. You are the visionary. Okay, so remind them of the vision. This will encourage the team. Hey, we got a leader that is consistently focused on the vision. And at the end of the day, I can trust in that they're going to make certain decisions and certain calls and certain moves, and they're going to act certain ways because they are locked in on the vision. And vision is something that people can get behind. Again, vision will always impact others and involve others, always. Okay, that's number 4, remind them of the vision. Number 5, lead by example. Lead by example. So, man, display unmatched work ethic, live full of integrity. We can never expect of others what we aren't willing to do ourselves. That is hypocrisy at its finest. And that is a hard leader to trust. Okay, so lead by example. If you're telling them to pursue excellence, you ought to be the chief excellent officer. To pursue disciplines personally, you ought to be the chief disciplined officer. You get my point. Okay, so lead by example. I even encourage you right now, maybe there are even some areas you're thinking about in your own leadership and in your own lives that you might not be living full of integrity in. Or with discipline, etc. You might be saying one message but living another. I understand how seasons can provoke certain compromise or can just encourage some apathy, etc. But hey, we don't have to give in to that as leaders. And so that's why it's important as a leader to also have a coach, which is what you're doing today if you're part of the Leadership Lounge and a part of the Valor family. So lead by example. Okay, you are the I love this thing that I've gotten into, the chief example officer. That's a great thought. You are the chief example officer. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6, be honest when you don't know. Be honest when you don't know. Oh, how good it feels as a leader to just simply say, man, I don't know. I don't know. Don't try to act like you know it all. We can say, I don't know, but hey, let's figure it out together. That's a leader that I can trust. I even sometimes, at conferences or different sessions, they'll ask me to do a Q&A. So when I get on the mic, I quickly say something like, I consider this a Q&R session because I don't always have answers. But oftentimes I'll have responses. I have a response. I have a reply, but I don't always have an answer. I'm not the chief answer officer. I'm the chief responding officer. I'm a leader that can lead us to maybe an answer or a resolve or a solution. Let's go there together. That is a leader that is trustworthy. Be honest when you don't know. You don't always have to have an answer. Maybe you just need to know the next step to find the answer. So that's good. Okay. And then a powerful question. We talked about this not too long ago. A powerful question is, well, what do you think? That also gives them a voice. Okay. So remember who you have in the room. You might have some of the most golden people in the room. And sometimes you don't know until you have questions. Okay. Leaders don't always have answers, but sometimes they have questions in reply. That's number 6. Number 7, follow through with your word. If you say you're going to do something, just do it. If you say a certain disciplinary action is going to take place, then follow through with that. If you say you are this type of leader, then follow through with that. If you say that there are certain incentives that you'll give out if we hit certain marks, then follow through with that. If you say you're a culture of fun, then you got to invest in fun, etc. Just go through with your word. That is a leader to be trusted. So number 7, follow through with your word. Number 8, notice their wins. Notice their wins. This just shows as a leader that you're paying attention, and attention pays a long way for a long time. It matters to your team that you are paying attention, even if they don't expect it. It just continues to cultivate again that trust culture. Okay, so notice their wins. That matters to a team member. Celebrate them publicly. We've talked about it before. Celebrate them on social media. Celebrate them, on your Slack threads. Celebrate them in staff meetings. Just take a moment, give kudos, reward them, etc. But notice their wins. Look in every now and then to their department, or ask their oversight. What's a recent win? One of the things that we do in one of our organizations is we send out what we call accountability forms, and one of the questions on there is, what's a win in your department from this past week? And if we get that back and we see that, then we just need to take time and celebrate that win. Okay, so notice their wins. Number 9, not only notice their wins, but the point, notice them. And I capitalized the word them. Notice them. There's this philosophy to keep work and life, separate. And I understand when it comes to the pressures, you don't want to bring home work. I understand when it comes to certain relationships, you need to have certain boundaries. But the point here is, when you notice them, in other words, their personal lives, their family, their well-being, it goes a long way. It shows them again that you care about them, not only as a product in your organization, but as a person. So give them, a day off, a monetary gift, the gift card for date night, a hotel voucher, just a little bit of something goes a long way, because it lets them know that you care about them as a person. Okay, so notice them. Care culture goes a long way. It matters. And that's an organization that they want to be a part of. And that's a leader that they want to be led by, that they can find trustworthy. And that's the type of leaders that we aim and desire to be, because we want that, right? That's number 9. Notice them, like them personally. Last but not least, listen. Number 10, listen to understand. We just talked a lot about this in a previous session, but listen to understand. There is nothing like a leader who listens intently, Listen not to reply. Listen not to correct. Listen not to just give them a principle of leadership, but listen to understand. Speak to them where they are. That's a leader that is trustworthy.